Welcome to the Great Debaters Contest, Nairobi Review. It's a pleasure having you with us. We want to thank you for supporting us throughout the year, watching the debates and being our fans. And we're going to do that by bringing you snippets of the very best from each region. And who better to help us with that than our esteemed judges, Major Lango and Maina Chege. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Fine.
Yes,
Very
Maina,
good.
had
Yeah.
lunch?
Absolutely.
Feeling good?
Very well done.
Okay, so we'll get straight to business. Nairobi region, it's our home. What did you guys think of Nairobi region this season?
Well, Nairobi is always, I would say we always have high expectations from Nairobi region because it's been the home of debate. And why we call it the home of debate is because this is where debates started, the schools within Nairobi County. And so we could say they are the pioneers and they're the mothers of the other debates in the other counties. And so I would want to say that the turn-up has never disappointed in Nairobi, and even the debates, the levels have always gone a notch higher, which we could accredit to the fact that the region has had intense training before. It has had patrons who have been there consistently working to see that we are up to standards. And so it was quite what we expected from the Nairobi region. Yes.
Okay, so it did not disappoint.
It did not disappoint me.
Major, do you agree with his sentiments?
Nairobi did not disappoint. It's always a privilege to talk about Nairobi region, in terms of content, in terms of style. As Maina has noted, it's the mother of all, it's like the mother region because it's the one that gave birth to all the other regions that we have. And we have had very good and nice and interesting debates. You can't forget, of course, Ofafa Jericho and Starehe Boys Center. Awesome debate. And even Loreto Convent Msongari and Riara Springs, awesome debates. And I think to me, the person who stood out for me was Jack Nyagi from Starehe Boys Center, an excellent debater, a very smart gentleman in terms of the way he executes his content and also his level of analysis of items, very awesome. Humor, he's a guy who is able to merge humor and reason and, everything put together, very awesome.
Yesterday night was quite a busy night for me. I had a dream, and in that dream, I had a wife. Well, not so pretty, but quite young enough for me. And we happened to be in the kitchen, and we were discussing about issues of our life and stuff. And she was like, "Hey, Jack, I'm so sick and tired of you. Every day I do everything for you. I do the dishes, I take care of the house, I take care of the animals, I even take care of you. What do you do for me? What do you do in this house? What do you take care of?" So I was like, "Hey, babe, when I look into your eyes, I just see a world of color. Sometimes I wish I was your teardrops, born in your eyes, living in your cheeks, and dying in your lips." So basically, I looked at her, and as expected, she was smiling. She was like, then all of a sudden, "Get out!" And I slowly turned and left the room. Well, hypersensitive, that is the word. That is the word to describe young women.
One thing you have to understand is that the Constitution of Kenya understands that Africa is a continent that has lived on stereotypes for the last 40 years. And we've all grown believing that women are inferior to men, so that's why we call them minorities. But the government and the Constitution has meted out simple positions to make sure that women are no longer a minority. That's the basis of affirmative action. I remember when I was 6 years old, a few years back, and my parents were really young, and they happened to get a visit from one of their business partners who gave me 250 shillings note. I gave one to my father and the other one to my mother. When I was 10, I requested for my money. I got it from my mother, but believe you me, up to date, I've never set my eyes on the 50 shilling note I gave to my father. This is because society has a perspective of women being the trustworthy gender. Understand why? Move across this Republic of Kenya. We have a money transfer system, M-Pesa. Most of the agents, M-Pesa agents, are young ladies who are contributing massively to the economy.
From Riara Spring, I remember Louise Obam. Louise Obam was a very nice lady in terms of being learned, or should I say being exposed to stuff. I remember she's the one who talked about polymer notes, and Maina was surprised when she mentioned polymer notes. Maina was asking, what are polymer notes?
In macro, that is the government, they do not need to spend money in printing cash notes and also saves the cost of logistics. For example, transportation and security fee. Designers have to be paid to create counterfeit-resistant bills. With a cashless economy, we will save money.
Debaters stated that there is counterfeit of money. But countries such as Australia, the Gambia, Cape Verde, and Mauritius use the polymer banknotes. Now, a polymer banknote is a note that has the biometric ink technology, which means that no note is going to be similar to another note, meaning that no one can counterfeit money and that there'll be no note similar to the other. Thus, a cash economy is not faulty. I'd also like to say that, as my debater Ashley said, many think that the grass is greener where on the other side, but I, Louisa Bam, say that it is greener where you water it. Why do we want to state that saving will increase with a cashless economy when someone will have the money in their hands? If someone has a credit card, they do not have a limit on it, they will be able to impulse buy. Anything they see, they will get. Thus, they will not save money, rather they will use more money.
Each nation's journey is unique and requires understanding of local realities. The benefits that come with a cashless society are universal. They are more convenient for consumers, they are more efficient for governments, and they contain higher productivity for businesses and greater financial inclusions for the society. Ladies and gentlemen, countries such as the United States of America, Denmark, and Sweden have positively gained from cashless economy. If we refuse to move to a cashless economy, then we are literally refusing to move to a better society. We are trying to move into a diverse society that enables each and every one of us to be different from the person we were in the past.
Change is definitely inevitable, but why should we go from cashless to cashless? Because first of all, the first form of trade was barter trade. So there they had cashless system and it didn't work for them, so they moved to a monetary system. So we had cowrie shells and beads, then the Arabs came with coins. So now we have a very good monetary system. But it would be better for us to improve the monetary system that we have now than to move to a cashless economy, which would make more of our citizens to lose their money than gain it. Why subject poor people to losing money, yet we are trying to make people compassionate? Why not help get polymer notes, reduce counterfeit, reduce graft and corruption, and then we have a better monetary system. That way more of the Kenyans can save. The common mwananchi will be able to save so easily in that way. For example, since Equity Bank got their new system, so many traders and other, what we would say, low-class Kenyans have been able to save large amounts of money just because they chose to better a system that was already there.
A good debater is one who does not insult your intelligence. I really have a problem when a debater takes the stage and you don't have the feel that this person has understood anything. But when you as a judge, you sit back and the debater educates you, then that is nice. I'm a student, by the way, and sometimes I sit in a lecture hall and yawn the whole time because the lecturer is actually, sorry, I hope he's not watching. Otherwise, I'll risk a supplementary. But
I need to text all lecturers where you at your institution of learning to tell them.
Sometimes you just feel you're bored. But there's some lecturers, when they take, when they stand before you, you just feel like, I need this guy to go on and on. That's the feeling that I get when someone like Louis Obam takes the stage, when someone like Jack Nyage, takes the stage. Very informative, very awesome. However, Ofafa Jericho, I think it was a drop. If you look at how they performed in season 5?
Yes.
It was quite interesting. But this time around, I don't know, it's because of change of debaters. And I think we need consistency maybe in the manner in which you train the students, so that a debate is not all about individuals. It's about, so that in case individuals leave the club dies. We want some continuity. Maybe teachers can help us do that.
Cash, solid. Cashless money, liquid. From chemistry 101, if you want to change a substance from solids to liquids, you have to apply a lot of heat. A lot of it. The heat in this case, what is it? It is the effort required, the money injected in making it a success. A lot of it is required. The cost of implementation of cashless accounts, we have, according to the Intelcom director, Mr. Andrew Diamond, 45% of the landmass of Africa lacks mobile network connectivity, yet a gross 60% of the population is not connected to a high-speed network, which is in Kenya, 3G.
Back in 2007, post-election violence, as we all remember, very many lives were lost. Why? Some people somewhere were paid using cash so that they can go around killing. All of you can bear me witness to that. Now, if back then we were using debit cards, will someone come and give you a debit card to kill someone else? Maybe you're not even aware of debit cards. Now, if we were using debit cards, I'm very sure no lives will have been lost.
Money is time, and time is money. As a business student, I am aware that savings can not only be categorized as money, but also as time. We save a lot of time when we use a cashless system of getting money.
If time is money, when M-Pesa crashes for more than a week and people with small businesses aren't able to make money, then they will not have any money to save. Therefore, the cashless economy is faulty.
Poverty is like the pull of gravity. It pulls down development whenever it tries to grow. Why do I have to say this? Poverty has so many problems. First of all, migration. People move from rural to urban migration. What do you expect from a person from a rural area comes to urban migration? Do you think this area will be overpopulation and it will lead to the growth of slums?
Trying to eradicate poverty, ladies and gentlemen, is like chasing a butterfly. The more you chase it directly, the more it eludes you. But concentrate on another thing, sustainable development in this instance, and the butterfly comes and rests peacefully on your shoulder.
Of course, Light Academy emerged to be the best school in that region and proceeded to the nationals. Do you feel Light Academy deserved to be the best school in Nairobi region and that they performed well at the nationals as well?
Absolutely. Light Academy has had a consistency in terms of their performance, and not just this season, but even in the previous seasons. Well, of course, there's a character, Mohammed, who has always stood out as a very strong debater within the team.
If eradicating poverty is not an indispensable requirement to sustainable development, then tell us what is. Facilitating trade, improving infrastructure, providing finances to small and medium enterprises, promoting good governance, fighting against corruption. Yes, those are what are indispensable requirements for sustainable development. Not wishful thinking, not a fantasy that will never be achieved. Poverty eradication in name.
But Light Academy has that element of confidence that really is executed across all the debaters. And that's exactly what really even, I would say, frightens the opponents, because they speak their mind and they're always brave on stage. And that's the fact that sometimes confidence will speak before you even say words. And that's what we have seen. So Light Academy, I would say, in my own opinion, they deserved it and they won it. And I think they were so determined because over the seasons, they have not won the title. And I think this time around they said it's a must. I think this was their third time on stage, and I think that's why they came this hard.
Third time's the
well,
charm.
Congratulations to them because they did it.
But I believe eradicating something means to completely get rid of it. Like smallpox, we eradicated that. But have we eradicated poverty? I believe not. And now some statistics that I would like to share with you. In 1970s, 10% of this continent was living under $1 a day. Now it is 50%, and that's according to the United Nations Development Program. Have we done anything to get rid of poverty? It seems no, it seems it keeps increasing. Then what is the solution to get rid of poverty?
Cuba, a country that was sanctioned by the United States for close to 50 years, has close to 67% of its population being degree holders. But look at where Cuba is today. When you purchase cars that were made in 2008, they buy cars which were made in 1970s, Peugeot 504s, things people no longer use.
I'm going to ask you, in general, looking at Nairobi as a region in its entirety, grading on research, mastery of topic, mastery of language, the usual things, style and presentation, what would you grade Nairobi highest and lowest in, starting with you, Major?
The aspect of lowest is a challenge, but highest, yes, style. Nairobi is just, I like saying, has a cocktail of styles. You know, it can never disappoint. Content and research, I rate them highly also. You know, people who come to educate you and they take the stage, very interesting. Weakness, it's always a problem to identify a weakness. Maina, could I throw the question to you? What do you think is the weakness of Nairobi region?
Are you throwing it to me? Okay,
yeah,
fine.
as I'm thinking.
Well, I would say it's preparedness.
As a weakness?
As a weakness in itself. Because some teams you could tell were not as prepared. And in some other regions when you go, and these are teams that have been there before, well, you would wonder, is this their first time on stage? Yet they had all this time to check out. I mean, their former teams have been there before. So there was a lot of that, and as if they were surprised to come on stage at first. But without going further, I think I want to also say that the style in Nairobi is just on another level. I remember we ate some biscuits courtesy of Kenya High School and the likes, you know, and they were all there.
I didn't get biscuits from Kenya High.
Oh.
Were they just for the judges?
I think they were.
Yeah, they were meant for the judges, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of illustrations coming on board as well. You know, analogies.
Did the biscuits affect your judgment?
Actually,
no, I'm just being...
Interestingly, the biscuits came after the presentation.
It was after,
I was just joking. Yeah, but you were saying something before I interrupted you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that element of use of style and analogies as well was just way above board. And Nairobi has never disappointed. And so at some point, judging, you just sit back and enjoy the debate. Then later on, you actually remember you're supposed to be taking notes at times and all that.
Yeah, just to add something, you know, maybe the tricky bit here is for the new entrants, you know, because you don't know what you're coming to expect. I remember there was a school, I'll not mention it by name, but there's a school that was totally new. Unfortunately, they met, you know, a worthy opponent, so to speak, and they were not defeated. In my opinion, they were crushed. And you see, that can really affect your ego because you came expecting this level of debate, but you see, Nairobi is on another level altogether. So I think all the schools that want to participate in Nairobi region, you've got to come here fully prepared. You know, talking about Light Academy, I think what helps Light Academy is consistency. And as I've always mentioned, you know, do not insult the intelligence of your listeners. You know, that's very important. And whenever Mohammed takes the stage, you just get to have the feeling that this is a man who has researched, or rather researched, this is a man who is out to educate the public. We have always said a debater is a teacher. At the end of your presentation, the question is, what is my takeaway from your presentation? And the so what question, so what after you've debated? And I think that is what helps Light Academy, the fact that they are able to research and they are able to deliver their research in a very powerful manner. It's a plus for them.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't fail to also mention that Riara Springs was just a new entrant.
Yeah.
And they did very well. And we can't also fail to point out at Strathmore School, which has always been a giant, to tell them that we're waiting for them in the next season to come and show us their A game.
Yes.
I think this time around, I don't know whether they took lunch before they came to the stage, but we were expecting a lot more based on what they had done in the previous.
Yeah, Maida, I think also the problem here could be, you know, if you're so much used to the debate stage, then you just think it's business as usual. Sorry for the cliche, but you see, so you don't really prepare yourself for a tougher job. So that's what is affecting some of the big schools of some of the great debaters that have been here before. You know, because I won last time, when I come this time, you know, it's an obvious win. Only to realize that the people you defeated last time went unprepared, and they have come with their A game. Yeah, so I think we don't need to be very cozy all the time.
Multinational companies operate and starts in order to make maximum profits. Other companies take advantage of the laxity due to companies like KEBS not being involved in the right works. Counterfeiters bribe the officials in order for their products to get into the shelves.
There are certain marks of finesse we expect from these countries, from these companies. You see, according to the United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, these companies ought to respect human rights. They have to ensure that their conduct does not infringe on human rights.
Final question. They tackled, in the motions, there were various issues being tackled, but many of them are affecting society today. They talked about affirmative action issues. We are struggling to pass a 2/3 gender rule. They talked about climate change, mobile banking. Do you feel they have a good grasp of these issues in real life, and it's not just empty rhetoric or perhaps book smarts and research from the internet? Do you feel that they have a good grasp and that they can take what they learned from the debates and while researching for the debates and apply that in real life and help us deal with some of these issues out there in society, as opposed to just talk on a stage?
I think, let me take it first. I think it's easier to know if a debater is just debating for the sake of debating. In literature, we say arts for art's sake, you know. I think most debaters really were passionate about the subject they were debating about. Sorry to take you back to Starehe, but to go back to Jack Nyagi, and I think they were discussing something about women driving the economy of Africa. And I saw he was giving examples personal examples. And sometimes he was personalizing the motion. That is the very important thing you need to do. It is easy to detect a debater who is debating for the sake of debating. There is no passion, there is no conviction. As a listener also, or as a judge, you feel withdrawn from the subject matter. But you see, when Jack Nyage ended, and he ended using, and said, I think we have offended the women, and it is not too late to say sorry to our opponents. We should say sorry to the women.
A good night's sleep is when you hug your teddy bear and go to sleep. A horrific night on the other side is when your teddy bear hugs you back. Now, when we all talk about economic development sustainability of Africa, we all intended it to be a crystal stair. But instead, it's just like a stared crystal. Why? Because we did not include young women in the making. See, giving women a greater voice helps encourage long-term thinking and discourages conflict, which is one of the main reasons for Africa's plight in the second half of the 20th century. The feminization of politics has been identified by Steven Pinker as one of the causes for a decline in conflict. See, man is the only being that cuts trees, makes paper, and writes "save trees" on them. Woman, on the other hand, is the only being that tries to slam a revolving door. She tries to do something after something, never giving up. She moves on and on despite anything that comes her way. And that is why we believe that they are the key to Africa's economic development sustainability. Now, to our opposers, the men sitting on my left, I believe that you have wronged the young women in this hall by saying a lot of ill things about them. But I know the questions you want to ask me is this: is it too late now to say sorry?
And I think he was actually alluding to a very popular song that is popular with the young people today. And to him, he was trying to, let's personalize this thing. It's not a question of it being too withdrawn from us. And by the way, if you find that a debater talks big, uses big terms, obscurity, then you realize that's a debater who has not understood the motion and has not personalized the motion. But if a debater can come down to the level of the people he's talking to, then that is a debater who has mastered the content and is willing to make the audience internalize it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't agree more, but one thing I would say is that there's always a first time to everything. So when it comes to grasp, it's our hope and wish that these things will come out of the heart and out of the reality of the society and what's happening around. So I would say, of course, the first entrants who have to research the matter or the subject in that motion for the first time. But it is my belief that even as you're doing that, you're internalizing these things and that you will use them, and which is the purpose of this debate, that you use them even past the motion itself, that even when you're outside in society and you face these things, they'll become of use to you, or you'll be held accountable for what you said when you were debating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that's it for Nairobi region. We've been talking to the judges, Maina Chege and Major Langu. Thank you so much for making time.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoy the snippets of Nairobi region, and be sure to catch us tomorrow. We're going all across the country. I have been your host, Mariam Bishar.